Second.
Call the July 10th, 2025 Perryville Planning Commission meeting to order. First item of business is approval of minutes from the June 11th meeting.
Move to approve minutes.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are good. Table of concept plan for the development on Stonewall Road by Lemon Engineering.
And I think Mr. Lemons is here and they have submitted a revised copy of their. And Mr. Lemons, if you would you just kind of go over the changes that you've made?
Yes, sir. Again, my name is Tim Lemons with Lemons Engineering. It's good to be here tonight. And the comments that I'll do is go over the things that have changed since our last meeting. We presented this at the June meeting of the Planning Commission. It was tabled so that we could look into a few things. And also I think there was a lack of participation or close to it from the last meeting. So wanted to have a better body here for you to ask questions and to go over this with us. So we did show this to the city council as a non-agenda item, and we got their comments as well. So I formulated those comments and we've come back with a revised plan. And the comments are thus, or the revisions are thus. The power line easement shall be included in the lots on either side of the power line. If you remember, originally I had that as common area as green space. We decided that having that narrow of a green space really doesn't benefit anyone, so therefore we're going to include their part of the power line with the lots on either side of it. So
It looks like you've added a couple of.
yes, I have added a little bit. And in fact, I believe I get into that here in just a minute. The original concept plan showing a street near the north property line that ran east to west, almost the entire length of the property. We just had a straight road going all the way across the top of the property. We felt like to try to promote being a neighborhood that we would actually loop the streets in. So we stopped the road between a couple of the blocks to kind of give a little loop area. And that's what prompted us to put the other two little roads in there about halfway down on the two, or the loops are, so they would be connecting so that no one has to go very far to get to somebody else's lot. But we just felt like it would kind of promote being a neighborhood. So that's why we took the that long industrial looking straight line out and put curves in there to kind of dress it up a little bit. We added a roundabout at the intersection of Bob Kidd Lake Road and Stonewall, and that's shown in the bottom left-hand corner. We would like to pursue that when we get to that point, which will be several years down the road, but no need to, might as well plan for it now if we can make it a possibility. So we did employ that in this. That would be in the very last phase of what we would be developing, but it's a starting point. And what that also helps us out, not only does it help the residents out, but also we had a long cul-de-sac there. This will negate the need for that cul-de-sac. So now we'll have just another way into the property. Okay, if you'll notice the red lines that, in fact, they look pretty predominant there, more so than on the drawing. The red lines, we added that to the concept. These red lines show the possible location of a sidewalk, walking trail, bicycle path throughout the development. We plan to run this same path through the area within the power line easement, connecting the park area, which is the green area on the east, with the common area, which would also be a secondary park area on the west. So you can see a little squiggly red line that runs through there. That, in conjunction with our sidewalks on our streets, will provide walkability throughout the entire development. And let's see, last but not least, the Planning Commission asked us to provide a schedule. And I believe y'all have seen that. If not, I have it here.
It's been said.
Okay, good. So you can see that our total build out, this is not a one-shot deal. This is a multi-phase, multi-year project. We're estimating, based on projected sales and so forth, it would be well into 2031 before we would be complete with the last phase. And that still doesn't take into account the very west end. That was not included in this. It's going to be further out than that. But as far as the single homes, That's the timeline that we're looking at. So, glad to answer any questions you may have.
The only thing that I would comment on the estimated time, line is, there is the issue of annexation.
Right.
Because the city can't consider anything past August fifth unless it's annexed, that would have to take place before they could go further with any kind of.
Sure.
Yeah, you're planning on doing that.
Yeah.
Memphis is here as well, yes.
Public question or us?
I think at this point, I mean,
Us.
yeah.
What's, on Stonewall, is there any kind of requirements or anything? As far as like the turn-ins, turnouts, the back, I'm assuming that's the back of those, no, it's the front of those lots. Sidewalks for that? I know the sidewalk's required there.
It is required.
What about the widening of the road? Cause there is a big difference between a normal road that we've had in the past, and then when you put a subdivision with a bunch
Because
of.
it's not currently in the city limits, it's kind of, it has not been our jurisdiction,
But it would be
but
if
it would be.
the annexation,
So
so,
what we would have to do is make a determination. I would think this road would be at the minimum, major collector,
Mhm.
possibly even an arterial, just based on how it's used. If it's a major collector, may not have to be widened. The county widened it about 5-6 years ago. But I don't know what the current fit is, so
Okay.
I can't answer that 100%, but I just haven't looked at it.
that's something that I noticed with some of the subdivisions going in, like you can see like the spots where they're wide and nice, and you can meet people in the spots where they're not quite as much. I do like that, so to give a positive, I do like that it's on the west side of the town, because a lot of the growth is on the east side of the town. The west side of the town hasn't, well, I say that, we've got several big,
Southwest has had a lot, but.
Yeah.
Northwest.
and then we're starting to go west there a little bit,
That's a nice.
but I like that it allows the town to kind of go in that direction with utilities and with stuff.
Actually, the first development that would occur if it happens, is the first development on the other side of the river.
We've tried this concept in other towns, with the big lots in the front, if you notice, 15 lots are 1 acre, full 1 acre lots. And that usually is a not real nice house that's set far back from the road, and it kind of gives the whole subdivision a pretty good look, I don't know how to say that, just.
Well, another concern that I would have, and this is, I think JC had mentioned earlier, the number of driveways on Vinegar Road. We would have to get some kind of commitment from the county, since the road would still be the county, to reduce the speed limit. And that would be a discussion we'd have to have with the county, but at 50 miles an hour, you wouldn't want those.
No, yeah.
So
Yeah, I understand that.
it's currently a county road, and depending on how they
Just like the
annex, if they only
option.
annex their property, the road still may be a county road. I can't answer that question yet, because they're not talking about annexing on the other side.
The other option is like an alley in the front where they all have one driveway, but they pull in that driveway and then go to the separate
Yeah.
properties.
That could be a possibility.
With a
And
deep 1 acre lot.
We can change that to regular lots, but I think it gives it a whole lot better stance.
No, my biggest concern is having driveways at 50 miles per hour back,
Yeah,
that many.
Certainly, that needs to be a lower than 25 or 30 or something like that.
But with it being the county's jurisdiction, we would have to have some kind of coordination.
Okay, got it.
Any other comments from the table?
I personally like the plan. However, I'm at the same place I was last time. We have 1,100 homes still waiting to be built in Frederick. And now we're trying to approve 340 more in 5 years. I think it's too much right now, and I don't think that we need it right now. Just my thing.
I'm on par with him, I'm sorry, but I feel like we're kind of busting at the seams with some school district stuff. Specifically, getting broke down in school. Like he said, people I told the other night, they don't have a 1,000, just rough estimate myself, they hadn't even broke ground. We're growing, we like growth. But I don't know if it's time to commit to a whole nother one right now. That's just my opinion.
I would like to also point out on the timeline that we provided, that is pretty much based on best case scenario. Truth of the matter is, with the annexation issue, which I really did not take into account, we can probably add 4 to 6 months to every one of those dates. So therefore, as far as the initial plans, it would probably be, instead of August next month, it's probably gonna be somewhere in the neighborhood of October, November, before you would see the first plans, which would just be those first 50 lots. So, you know, there's some more time, and I want y'all to be aware that if you didn't see us out there breaking ground by, July of 2026, completing the first phase, that's why, because we had to annex it in, so we have to add that to our timeline.
And I guess if the board doesn't like the number and that kind of thing, if I could get some input of what number is acceptable, what amount per year. The phases are pretty well the 50 to 70 amount per phase, and that would be per year, basically, but, you know, would there be a plan to say, you know, we could do 70 over the next 3 years or 2 years, and then, you know, we just need to know, is there acceptable things here, or is it just not acceptable? And, we don't own the property yet, it's subject to get approved, so it's maybe one person who gets hurt is the landowner, but, we want it to be an asset for this town. And I would think somewhere or another, there should be a plan to tell us, you know, what is acceptable. You wouldn't mind doing that.
So,
I actually disagree with him, and that's okay. I like the phasing. I think it's great. I think we get control by saying, you know, you've built 70, 68 are sitting empty. We're not approving phase 2 yet, or phase 3. So that does let us have some say in it. So as far as the number, I'm fine with where you're at. That would be a question for them. And that's, like I said, that's okay.
We could regulate it that way.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing with the other large one as well, as, you know, no one wants a 400, you know, roof division sitting empty, and neither do you. That's not making any money for you, so. I think that does help us, but ultimately it's just the concept, and they're trying to figure out if we like it, and if y'all don't, that's fine. And if it's,
Look at their payment schedule, do and add 6 months to that, that would put the last phase somewhere around 2030. Or at least finishing at
Yeah.
the end of 2031.
if everything went,
And one of the things we talked about at one point, and Mayor sent out the numbers, it's like the style of housing that's around. You know, we looked at some of our duplexes, apartments, we looked at our high end, and then we have a lot of that one zoning that even is gone now, that's not even in the 1.5 or whatever, and we had, you know, majority of that. Sometimes when we see this, we all feel like it's a bunch more of that, and that's kind of what we've gotten rid of in a way. You know, one of the things that we all talked about is those larger estate type lots. The negative of that is they're hard to sell, not everybody can afford them, you know, but it is one of those things. I thought the front did a good job of trying to give a little bit of that feel. But then again, could that just be a masking for what's actually behind it, which is a smaller style lots, and we do have a bunch of
Keep in
those.
mind, those lots behind it are still R1 lots.
Yeah, so it's not tiny.
They actually exceed your minimum requirements for R1.
They are lots of.
At that scale, they look small.
Yeah.
Most of them will be for garage. And what your idea,
They're bigger than
as
this.
far as the outlets on the 1 acre lots, we could, make it half as many, just have the drive, have one outlet that, you know, the two the houses could have them go to
Yeah.
one.
And really, you could even have the outlet touch your two main roads right here. It's
Yeah.
not up there, but the two roads that touch, Stonewall could have the outlet all the way across it, so you'd have to just use those two to go in, but that's a weird turn and turn out for some of those houses, but there's ways around that one, because you have those large lots there.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that I think I'm not saying I'm for or against on the concept, but what I'm saying, like, I think we would all be excited about estate lots, but here's the deal. There's probably not one of us that could afford to buy an estate lot, you know what I mean? Like, we would love to have some neighbors with estate lots, but it's, I know my kids couldn't afford an estate lot, you know, so, and my family couldn't, maybe one, but, you know, it's one of those deals like, that's not promoting growth, it's providing another option, but if it doesn't sell, then we're in the same boat.
You'll be doing
And if you can't
you'll be doing
afford-
a replat on this someday.
Yeah.
Small lots.
Yeah, and you can't develop it sometimes, and that's not always our issue. That's more on the development side, but with what you guys do have to incur on this one with the river, it does change things, and it does get utilities to the west side, which I hate to see all the farmland go, but that is a place where there is a lot of potential for growth that now traffic wise is going to cause tons of problems with Bush Street. There needs to be other ways out of that area, something like to the north of the park and something to the south of everything, you know, to get everybody out to Highway 62. It's going to cause a lot of problems. There needs to be some more relief routes.
We were actually looking at a alignment that would line up with Apple Hill Road, which extends to 262. But it's about 6/10 of a mile of road that have to be built. That's not there currently, so.
Yeah, that's pretty expensive.
We do see the benefit of getting on to, where the, roundabout is. I'm sorry, that name, Bob Kidd Lake Road, Bob Kidd Lake Road. I should be able to remember that. But anyway, we see the benefit of getting there, providing a way around to the bypass.
Yeah.
So we do feel like that. A lot of people that are in a hurry to get to work are probably going to use that road before coming back towards school.
It's a little scary farther down here as you go this way, because it's not as, but it is a way around. And it would be somebody needing to fix that road to where it wouldn't be quite as dangerous. I think I've been in a ditch over there a time or two, but
32.5 years where there's no bridge there, but I use it every day, so.
One other thing I would like to point out, if you look at our phasing lines, those were strategically done to accommodate
those look good.
Memphis's request for the 50 to 70 lots per phase, but also we realized that from a fire protection standpoint, ISO requires 2 ways in and out if you got 30 or more lots. Each one of these phases, if we do it the way we got shown, we'll never have to worry about that. We've got it all the way through.
And it's 30 dwelling units, correct?
I'm sorry,
30 dwelling.
30 dwelling unit, yeah.
So.
And I do like that the common area isn't under the telephone line or the electric lines. I would love to see what you could do inside of a common area. That would also help. I look at the spot on the far east side, the large retention or detention pond that you have there. On the north side of it, you got a lot of green space. I think it would be a great selling point if what would be there was in here, or what could be there, or what you would commit to, or who's paying for it. I know HOA and his city has all that going all the time, but you know, that could be really cool. Now you would need a entrance to that location. That would help. It'd have to shave off probably lot number 40 and provide something there. But there's a selling point and an opportunity there to make that, you've got walkability, but to make something that's also community focused and in an area that you couldn't build in anyways because of the elevation.
Right.
Go back over to the west side of the property, you got a similar situation where you got a common area. What's there that the community gets to use that would help people who are like, oof, all these houses, say, you know what, that'd be cool, because we wouldn't have to drive into town to go do that.
Yeah.
We literally could let our kid walk over there in a safe part of the west side of Prairie Grove and do that.
We're open to suggestions for
Yeah.
sure, and, you know, even over here, we're giving some land to the park, and, y'all are, yeah, interested in that. We're glad to make a donation of land to the city, or if you want us to do something, or we're open to ideas on that.
I would like to point out that the pond that we have shown there on the east side, that is a retention pond, not detention. So it will have water. So, you know, there's a lot of things we can do with that. You know, I
And how
mean,
many
Game
people,
and Fish will come out and stock a pond for you. if you're
that was my
requesting.
next thing, is how many kids are looking for a place to fish all the time? How many phone calls do we feel like, hey, you know anybody with the pond?
Well, you just get the ones that fish here and move up here.
Yeah.
Uh,
But you know, what I mean, I'm not, there's definitely some opportunities there. And, you know, sometimes it's hard when you're laying out all the lots and everything to brainstorm some of that stuff, but. You know, if it's something that you're not super excited about as a committee member, it's like, what could make us excited? It could be less number of houses, estate lots, like we can throw that out there. It could be common space or activities or soccer fields or a pavilion in a park and fishing, or is there outdoor stuff that we don't have in Prairie Grove that y'all's kids or their kids or someone's kids would enjoy? Or, you know, is there something we can give them or ask for, you know, legally, that gives an opportunity, maybe not just an acceptance, but an opportunity.
We're certainly open to that. And I don't really know, in Prairie Grove, is there any kind of bike? I know a lot of Northwest Arkansas, there's bike trails that are connecting all kinds of.
Nothing that's connected,
What's that?
nothing that's actually connected.
To us.
Oh, okay.
Kessler's about as close as you can get.
Farmington's building some new ones, they're supposedly connecting to Kessler, I don't know what the status of that is.
I do like your idea about making that green space a little more functional instead of just something the POA has to mow. Playground equipment, pavilions, something like that, you know, that would be, we don't want to put anything that's going to be high maintenance. We
Right.
wouldn't want to put a water park or anything like that in there, you know,
Yeah.
but, you know, things that could be maintained economically and also provide some benefit, absolutely. It's a great idea. I don't mean to be spending your money, man.
But like in that west part area, I don't know a lot about park areas and acreages and all that, but what is an ideal size for, you know, a city park?
Depends on what you're using it for, Nick. Wagon Springs put in a dog park in Wagon Springs, it's used by the whole neighborhood, I mean, every time I go by there, people using it, and it's probably half acre. But, you know, for what that's being used for, it's ideal, and it's getting a lot of use, so.
How many acres is that in, you know,
This,
on the west?
I guess that's an acre, acre and a half.
It's actually probably more than that. That whole green space there is about 10 acres, so.
10.96
That'd be
acres.
more than about
Yeah,
3
but
acres.
just from the pond up.
Oh, from there, about
I guess
3
a couple
acres.
acres.
Yeah, it's a couple acres. On the other end, Memphis, I would say that's probably 4 or 5 acres would be my guess.
And Tim, if y'all have some vision of some park that would be handy on that side part of town, we can make that bigger for sure.
I would mention to y'all, and I think you already know this, but if you do pursue annexation of a piece of property here, you're gonna have some kind of agreement with this property owner, at least to annex a strip along the road so that there's connectivity, so.
We do realize that, but, you know, if it'd be an asset for the town, you know, that, I guess we just need input for you guys, what that would need to look like.
Do y'all have a park commission?
You have a parks and recreation committee.
I'd like to, you know, we get to that point, I'd like to see through it, see what they would like to see and see if we can make it happen. We'll join effort.
Does the road moving, which I like the look of it better, the road moving from industrial straight across all the top to the little connectors, does it affect fire any at all?
Still got.
You know, we have this
Plumbing.
discussion all the time, whether
'Cause I like the look of
the
it.
trade-off between keeping a subdivision private or providing connectivity through it. I think the people that live there, they'd much rather be kept private if possible. City moving traffic, sometimes we like having those roads connect on.
We're open to either one.
I like what they've done on that part. I really do. As far as aesthetics, I was at
Most
the
people that live in a
functionality.
community want, you know,
That right
private
there.
people they can get.
I like that better.
One other thing that I failed to mention in my letter, I believe, but where the little loop is in the northeast corner, we did have 2 cul-de-sacs there. We just were able to, once we examined it a little bit closer, we could take that those out and make it a loop street, which should also help with emergency vehicles as well. You don't have to worry about backing out of a cul-de-sac.
And you did, when you were talking about sidewalks through the electrical easement, I also noticed red lines on the side of the roads.
Mm-hmm,
That's just standard sidewalks, right?
right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying just to get a point across if everything red was a walking point all the way through. And we've strategically put crosswalks there as well, as you can see in our intersections. So you have the ability to get across the road without it all the way down the block.
Are those mandated like four-way stops, anything, or is that something they choose? How does that work out? Like where they added the crosswalks there at the entrance, so you pull in and you get past the first 1 acre lot and then your next lot, and there's a four-way intersection there. It's the city do that?
Yeah, then probably what the police department would recommend being,
It would be better, yeah, if there's crosswalks there and stop signs, slow down the traffic in the community a little bit.
My plan is in each one of those intersections on the north side of the 1 acre lot, making those a four-way stop. Like you say, it's just slow everybody down.
Mm-hmm.
is there anyone in the audience that has a comment on this particular? Yes, give you,
My name is on the street. I live on Old Campbell Road, which is south of this, but it joins Buckhead Lake Road. My concern is the traffic coming down Buckhead Lake. I don't know if anybody knows it or not. Copart is down there south. There are 10 to 15 semi trucks come out of there every day. And if you look at the intersection, we'll come out Highway 16, all the big skid marks and gouges in the road is where they've gotten hung up and had tow trucks come there and pull them out. I don't see how that corner intersection can handle the traffic. Plus you got the lake intersect, the entrance to the lake coming in there. And Bob Kidd, as you go up for the north, you've got two 90-degree corners and up grade. And the road is canopy, those trees, and it's gonna be nothing but ice and snow in the wintertime, and they're gonna be stacking cars up there left and right in the wintertime. I don't see where the cars are gonna go. That's my main concern, because you got the entrance to the lake, and you come down there, the Bill Campbell Road, and Bob Kidd, you got semi trucks coming in there every day, plus there's probably 20 or 30 tow trucks coming in there every day, because I live literally in their backyard, or they're literally in my backyard. So I see this every day. And like I said, when they come out up on 16, you can see the gouges and that hump. Well, I mean, you guys have pulled them out before. I mean, y'all had police that are blocking the highway. Well, semi trucks and low car carriers get hung up in the center of the road. It takes several hours to get them pulled out. So that's my main concern is the traffic. And then you gotta, going into town, you might have all traffic coming back in town and Divine and Grove right there at the school. So it's gonna be all clustered up there. And like I said, you gotta come around industrial. So that's my main concern is the traffic. Thank you.
thank you.
Is that on our future city? We didn't put that on the future street plan, did we? That, a connector in there. I don't feel like there was one in there, because I would feel like that would be
We talked about that last time, some sort of connector and.
because if you don't have a kid that goes to school in the morning, you're not going Bush Street, you're not going Stonewall, you're going around.
Good luck getting turned left there.
Yeah.
But by,
I think industrial.
it's Curtis Parkway.
Yeah.
They never turn left there.
No, you'd never be able to get out right there.
It's not.
Anyone else in the audience? Comments? Liz, at this point, they're looking for approval for the concept.
And if it doesn't pass, what's the repercussions? Cause it's not like a zone where you gotta wait a year,
No.
you just bring another
Come back with a different idea.
That plant really is just to provide the development feedback on what
What they want.
they should do going forward, so they don't have to do a full scale preliminary plant and then have y'all say, no, I don't like this at all. This gives them the feedback they need to proceed with more detailed plan. So if it doesn't get approved, they go back to the drawing board.
And even if this does get approved, they would still have to have their phase one
No, still gonna come back
individually
to it.
done.
Okay.
We still have complete control over, you know, the time frame.
This is an input process, what this is.
We just wouldn't want to mislead them and say, oh yeah, this looks good, and they
Spend it on.
spend the money and then come back and say, oh no, we don't
Well,
want
like we said, we don't mind spending Memphis's money.
to.
Speaking of money, I know that economic really should not be considered, but you can't help but think about it. look at 340 houses plus infrastructure. If it's annexed into the city, that's a tremendous amount of sales tax the city's gonna get. Whereas in front of the county, they don't get it because sales tax is paid on the point of delivery, not from the point of purchase. I live in Cabot. If I buy something in Fayetteville, they deliver it to Cabot, I pay Cabot sales tax. So if it's in the city, you benefit from all that. And we have all the pictures of annexing.
Vote for Stubby.
What's that?
That's a caveat. I mean, I'm guessing.
Don't tell anybody, I'm actually one of his biggest supporters.
Good, good.
No, Stubby's a dear friend of mine. Dear friend. Pretty good DJ too.
I went to his announcement.
Were you there? I couldn't have had a sick family member, but I was gonna be there. I hear it's well attended.
So I guess for me, it's not about the money, even if it's split up, which 60 to 70 a year doesn't sound bad. For this subdivision. And then you have the other subdivision doing 60 or 70, and then the other subdivision doing 60 or 70. Now we're talking 180 to 210 homes a year. We're not talking 60 or 70. And we've already approved those, can't go back. I can't get behind this right just now.
It'd be good too, Mayor, to have those timelines, maybe of what's coming in our phasings, you know, of what's approved. So that we had, you know, those are probably pretty close.
Look at it.
Yeah,
But-
we have it.
We got Copper Hill and
We have the timeline.
Oh, good. I'll have to go back and look.
Well, city council, I mean, I know you've sent that.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably been months since I sent it out,
Yeah.
I me and Blaine talked yesterday, trying to break down some of the numbers on the way it was, and I had meetings today, so it gave me the opportunity to really drop in and try to cut us back. You know, originally, we were always sitting somewhere around 1,500, we really haven't improved much over the last year and a half. And so that number has been kind of steadily dropped, and we've kind of settled in, I think it's about 1,000 to 1,100 is what we still have on paper right now that we built out. I could be a little bit off.
What about our numbers with phasing? Have we done that where we're like, this year, these phases could be going?
So
'Cause like you said-
You just want, I'm still working on this, you just want to break down what you should see over the next 5 years as for, the only thing we're really doing in phases right now that we've controlled is Welsh Stone, right, which we're near now, but everything else is kind of like, so the gentleman that's in front of y'all is the Steins, so they build in Steiner Road. And so we don't really have a timeline on that, they build a phase, once they get that phase ready, they start moving on the next one, and then they gotta come back in front of the council to get the next phase approved in front of y'all, right, so we move through phases, we're just not regulating them phases like we do with the Roush Coleman development, or potentially you could do with this development, where you say, I'm sorry, I know you already got phase 1 done, but I'm not approving phase 2 yet because we have a timeline restraint that says you can't start building into 2027, right? And so everyone else, they just build out, sell a phase, they made some money, so then they come back in front of you and then the council to just go ahead with the next phase. So it's a little bit more difficult to give you an accurate timeline, except for Roush Coleman, where we have dictated, you can't build this to this date. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And really, when you're talking about building, the market kind of determines how many houses we're gonna see built every year. We've been averaging 160 to 200 for the last 5 years. I don't anticipate that's gonna change over the next 5 years. It's gonna be that 160 to 200 every year. That's a lot of houses, don't get me wrong.
500 people in the community per year.
Yeah, that's
That's 21 single family.
2.6
last month.
per door, so.
When you think 21 houses in a month, it's not astronomical. It's big for growth, but it's not astronomical.
If you're talking 500 people in the community, you're talking what, 100 of those in the school? Maybe 150 of those in the school?
It depends. For a long time, it was kind of a anomaly. We weren't seeing that trend at all. In fact, the numbers of houses we were getting didn't correlate to the number of kids we were getting at all. Me and Mr. Kellogg had this conversation because that has changed. I think we were getting older people in Prairie Grove for 2 or 3 years. Now it seems like it's younger families here. So I think we are seeing the numbers now, but we didn't there for 2017, 2018, 2019, and we couldn't figure out why, to be honest.
Well, that was part of the reason why the school district did that growth pattern, because the original one said they wasn't growing at the rate at which we were growing. and they go on, I haven't looked right about the numbers, but I think it was disparity of what was coming into Prairie Grove previously and then what's coming in now. As you start, and I'm not gonna use the word cheaper housing to be, you know, a little bit, but, you know, you can't live in Fayetteville for $250,000. You can find a older house in, $250,000, $300,000. And so I think it's going to get a lot more of those first time buyers, young couples. And so now you get, the young families with 1 or 2 kids, and you start to see that impact on the elementary system.
And I think we were about 170 last year, and I think we're on pace right now for just a little less than that this year, so then maybe, and that could change, we could get 100 permits in 1 month, that's happened before. But, right now, we're on pace for probably about 150 this year.
The month before last was 17, so.
Usually the only time we've seen that pattern stop is when there's not available lots, like in 2017, 2018, we literally ran out of lots. And we went from 170 down to 80 new houses because there wasn't any place to build. And then several subdivisions took off. Snyder Grove, it's a pretty good example of one that we didn't adopt phasing, but they definitely phased it in. You'll probably be building houses on phase 8 soon, I imagine. Richard.
Yeah, well, we actually jumped to 8, but it's 8 phases and we're about to do 6.
You skipped 6 and 7.
6 and 7 is what we have left.
Yeah.
We jumped because of that, couldn't park it.
But
And
my
you said-
point is you're probably close to building out phase 8 by the time you get 6 and 7 ready. That's kind
That's
of
right.
that's what you've been doing.
Yeah,
And a lot of, this is very similar to Snyder Grove as far as lot size and
These are bigger,
House
these
bigger.
are much bigger than Snyder.
much
Or
bigger than Snyder Grove.
considerably.
I didn't do Snyder Grove, I'm sorry. Okay.
Those are 7,000 and I think these are about 8,500 square foot.
9,000.
9,000, yeah.
9,000 per lot.
So they're 2,000 square foot bigger. These are.
I think it's up to time to vote, right?
Yeah.
All right, I make a motion to approve the concept plan for development on Stonewall Road submitted by Lemon Engineering.
Lemons, but you can say lemon. Makes me sound better, yes, I'll,
Down French.
that sounds.
I'll second.
All right, have a motion and a second to approve the concept plan for, we're just calling it development on Stonewall Road.
Stonewall.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll just do roll call, and then we're gonna have Blaine,
No,
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 Colin,
No.
Rob,
Yes.
Bree,
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Yes, let's have it.
We appreciate your time before to send you, so thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank you. Large scale development plan for an addition to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Hi, I'm Brad Wise with Bates and Associates. We are proposing 50 additional parking spaces and a 3,000 square foot building addition. With and we'll be providing detention for the added impervious area.
I think they've already approved the detention plan, yeah,
Yes, sir.
the drainage.
Everything
Well,
on.
basically, the condition is going right here, that's green space now, isn't it, Lynn, where it's going? So going into the green space behind the church.
And the additional parking's where?
Just all.
The spaces on the far right, and then where's
Yes.
the other?
Where's the additional part?
And then, in this picture in the far right, where those 3 trees are.
Okay,
That's south.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
that's not gonna encroach on the pavilion or anything?
Yes.
Chuck, and this was, he was on number 4, right?
Yes.
It's something like that. Nothing from the city, we're already.
No, he has already submitted the drainage plan to our consultant, they already approved it, so.
Fire's good with it.
Yes. With
Yes.
sprinkled.
Make a motion to.
We gotta take.
Oh, go ahead. My bad.
Any public comment? Yeah,
Now,
I make a motion to approve the large scale development plan in addition to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Second.
have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, good to go. Thank you.
I want to say aye myself.
I figured. Thank y'all. Item 4, rezone from A1 to R1 by Veterans Land Buyers, JP Kilduff. This is the property off Richardson Road. It was originally, I believe, part of the golf course. Who's representing? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Nick, I got you on speakerphone, so we're getting ready to start on your item. Again, it's rezoned from A1 to R1, Richardson Road. I think most of you are probably familiar. This is Mountain View subdivision. This is Highland Greens, I think. Valley View. This is Highland Greens subdivision. So it's a land that lies in between, used to be golf course. Currently zoned agricultural just because it's never been rezoned or updated since it was annexed in 2006. All of these lots are R175 lots. I believe these are R15 lots. So they're asking for R1, which is actually a bigger lot. This would only include this parcel. There's a second parcel that they will develop or are hoping to develop. That's in Farmington, so that will not be considered by us. And they will have to go through Farmington on that.
And all we're asking for, looking at tonight is just the rezoning it.
Looking at rezoning, and the zoning that they've asked for is our
R1.
largest density residential zone.
When you say largest density,
We don't have any zones that require less density than that for residential.
Big lots, bigger lots,
They're proposing-
less houses per acre.
I like that.
And right now, it's just growing up
Yeah.
land.
And I think we do have some people in the audience.
you could show, isn't the next slide also kind of a proposed layout? It's a street view.
That's land, of course, that's street view. And this is just a concept at this time, that's the proposed, layout that, they had submitted to the city when we were considering sewer connections a few months ago. The city has agreed to serve a sewer to those lots as well as the 4 lots in Farmington as well, 5 lots.
It will be doing sewer to those
Yes,
lots in Farmington?
yes, sir. City agreed to supply for the sewer. City has a unique relationship there because it's actually, the sewer belongs to the improved district number 5. They operate the sewer system, but they pump it for growth treatment. In our contract with the improved district, we get to approve any new connections because they affect our capacity. So that's the reason why they had to come to us to get the number of taps approved.
Real quick, for those of you that want to make public comment, we'll give you 3 minutes to come up, give us your name and your address. And then I'll start a timer, and like I say, you have 3 minutes to give your comments, and at that. Yes, ma'am.
For reference, it would be the first house, I think they're on Richardson Road. That's across the street from where I live.
Okay,
You just addressed the sewer.
your name?
My name is Patricia Nicholson, and I live at 12401 Richardson
Thank you.
Road. Yes. And the sewer you mentioned, I did mention it in my statements, but you can take that for what it's worth. Basically, I wrote a letter. I am writing to strongly oppose the proposed rezoning of the former golf course land across from my home from agricultural to residential. When my husband and I purchased our home in Valley View Estates 17 years ago, we were thrilled by the opportunity to live in a beautiful community centered around a well-maintained golf course. We knew we wouldn't have houses built across the street from us or behind us. At the time, it represented the lifestyle and environment we had always envisioned for our family. This was a major factor in our decision and our investment. Unfortunately, over the years, that vision has deteriorated with the gross mismanagement of the golf course and sewer system by Joe Stewart, and land being rezoned from agricultural to residential. So these are my key concerns: the loss of intended land use and broken expectations. The land was a golf course zoned agricultural, and our purchase was based on that premise. Rezoning continues to undermine longstanding expectations and erodes trust between homeowners and the city. It raises concerns about future rezoning and a lack of consistency in land use planning. Traffic and infrastructure strain. Richardson Road serves as a main entrance into the Valley View subdivision. We have already seen increased traffic when houses were built on Red Tail Way, Gully Lane, Hook Lane, and Iron Avenue as a result of this land being sold that was previously owned by Joe Stewart and others and initially zoned as agricultural. Visibility is already a safety issue. There's a hill in front of my residence on Richardson Road, and it is difficult to see oncoming traffic when approaching from either direction. It crests at my home. This is particularly dangerous when cars are parked on the street. Adding more homes and daily commuters will increase the risk of accidents at an already dangerous spot. We also experience frequent speeding, and this stretch of road is not currently equipped with adequate signage, enforcement, or traffic calming measures. Without full traffic impact study and fully defined mitigation strategies, this rezoning poses as an unacceptable risk to residents, to children, to cyclists, and pedestrians. Utility burden, this was the water and sewage piece. We are already paying much higher sewer rates due to the mismanagement by the golf courses, previous owner who owned the sewer system. Adding residential development will increase water demand and sewage load, possibly increasing current costs because of new infrastructure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. My name is Joseph Mitchell. I'm a resident in the proposed Valley View 2420 Bogey Lane. I do oppose as well the proposed rezoning. Similar concerns. Currently, we're paying more in water bills than we are property taxes. Maybe that will change. Maybe they'll God will grace us with hook up rights to the sewer system, but the concerns they run just equally as a team. It does seem a little bit of negotiating in bad faith with the previous land developer. Concerns residing with land use once it's rezoned cannot take back its originally intended use. My property will it abuts the cul-de-sac as it turns and it dead ends as opposed to at the very end. The elevation behind my property, there was this, I don't, it seems to me that there'll be some significant terraforming. You probably have more information than I do, because it seems to be like, there's a swale, using the term correctly. And the elevation behind my residence is elevated to the point where there's vegetation, the trees. I'm concerned that would be destroyed. And then the covenant of quiet enjoyment, perhaps I'm reading into it more than I would like. I understand it's not simply what I desire. But just in terms of the development and we bought with the intention that this, as is would quiet enjoyment would include the tree run, the tree ridges, and also with traffic. My wife, perhaps due to her driving ability, we have 2 accidents in our family from Richardson Road as the subdivision exits because of the there's a ridge that was kind of sealed off with cinder block as you exit, and the increased traffic. I'm a municipal employee, Grove School District, and I exit going west, and with the school buses, sometimes I'm unable to make it, at my preferred time due to that. And on the other end, it's the Farmington School District. We're kind of blocked off at both ends. So I don't know if a proposed solution would be traffic control systems, you know, I would prefer as the first speaker said, just a more rural experience.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mark Pulse, 12385 Richardson Road, actually their neighbor. I'm in Farmington, but I'm right on the lot line between. Also, many of the concerns that she brought up, we didn't write these up together, or we wrote them up separately, but they're very, very much the same. We're concerned about the devaluation of our homes. We have covenants in our subdivision, always trouble to keep those up to date and people keeping under those rules. They built the new subdivision up on top, that's turned into nothing more than leased property. And those people do not care if it's taken care of or not. Now you're proposing to open up more property, bring more traffic on Richardson. I live just down the block. I know where you had the accidents because I'm almost at that corner. And, we've had Farmington come out and they've done a speed study called Prairie Grove when there's cars parked along the road. Cars parked on the sidewalks, cars parked in the front yards. There's no accommodation for any kind of expansion whatsoever of these homes, and now we're gonna squeeze some more in there. What happens to the sale of that property? Is Mr. Lipsmeyer gonna donate that back to all the people that have to pay for the sewer charges now? And we started out with 40 a month sewer charges, and now we're up to $180 a month. Loss of green space. There's a lot of greenery that if you're gonna put houses in there, those tree rows in the back are probably gonna come down, or the majority are gonna come down. That could be an issue as well. Again, increasing the density of population. Activity, traffic in the mornings and in the afternoons. We already have traffic that is in excess of 60 miles an hour driving down a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit road, and nobody seems to care. We tried to get a speed table put in. Can't do that. Fire trucks can't get over the speed table. There's ways around it, because everybody else has speed tables except Farmington. So I am totally against it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
My name is Judy Sisabundes. I actually live in that cul-de-sac of Broken Spoke, in the subdivision that we were talking about. Mine's very simple. When we first moved to there, because it's clearly only has good afford, they told us they weren't gonna build anything. There's a lot of green space back there, only privacy we have. And if you guys were to tear down all those trees, like where would that leave us? There's a lot of animals that live there. There's a lot of deer that we see, and it's very common space. And then you bring in more people, I think that wouldn't be fair to us that just moved in there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Questions? I mean, from our standpoint, I will answer a few questions with not so much as good answers, but we do not control the water rates nor the sewer rates for Valley View area. I mean, that is controlled by Washington Water Authority, not the city of Prairie Grove.
Improvement district.
Right.
Is that going to be part of Valley View?
It's part of the improvement, it would become part of the improvement district number 5 sewer system, not part of Valley View. It would become part of Washington Water Authority service area.
Will they be following the POA of the Valley View?
I don't think they have any requirement to.
Is that in front on Richardson Road where the houses that were built?
I can't answer that, I'm not an attorney. I know the Valley View POA has looked into it, and my understanding is they don't believe that they can require them to be part of the POA. But you would have to talk to them about that.
You got another, slide that came up showing how the homes, that were along Richardson. Are those also gonna have driveways to Richardson as well? There's 3 or 4 properties.
You talking about this one?
Yes, that one there.
They plan on putting a road up top there that's gonna run into Giles, or Giles, however you pronounce it. The very top,
They're talking about cul-de-sacing here, so it would not go through Giles. And it does look like there's 4 lots here.
So you're gonna dump more traffic into that hilly area that's already a traffic hazard.
And again, that's just a concept. I mean, that's not a plat that has been approved. It was just the idea.
There's gonna be moving hills around there, there's not many places to put a wood. Unless you have the traffic go out the other way to Giles.
that's in my backyard, that's why I was here today. Now it's found out it's a Farmington.
From a planning standpoint, cities, when they do land development, certain areas do come in as agricultural under the city limit until they can reach their more developed state. So land should never be considered agricultural within the city limits. It's always in our land use plan, for example, we have a land use plan that dictates what the future of this land should be. Future of this land on our land use plan shows it as residential, which is what they're asking for. So they're asking for it to comply with what the city shows it the best use to be.
Who determined that and at what time period was that determined?
This land use plan was approved in 2024 is when it was updated.
2024,
24 was the update.
pretty convenient, I guess.
These people didn't even have anything to do with that property in 2024, so there's no correlation between. But it's residential all the way around it on all sides, so obviously from the city standpoint, it looks like it should be residential as well. In this case, it's kind of best case scenario for y'all. You've got small lots here. What they're proposing is actually bigger lots than what's on either side of it. So if you're gonna have a subdivision go in, you want something that is gonna hold your property values. And bigger lots with bigger houses are going to preserve their property values better than. small
Overgrown.
lots.
Or
But is
overgrown
that
lots.
subject to change? That could change.
Not what's in zone, it's
That's what's in
R1,
zone.
that determines the density.
Okay.
Right, so if it's zoned R1, they can't go below the density required in R1. Doesn't mean they have to put half acre lots, it has to comply with R1 zoning, but they can't go to the smaller lots. You know, the other issue to consider is what's happening to the property now, it's getting grown up and the city is struggling, Farmington has struggled to keep it maintained because the owner doesn't want to maintain. This is a solution for that.
The green space would be awesome, but it's hard
But you
to,
can't tell somebody.
it's hard to tell somebody to keep space green.
Space for some- We go through this really with every subdivision. The subdivision that you saw earlier on the screen, there's people that surround it. That love to see their deer and their fox and their coyotes and everything else run that property. But it's gonna change. My daughters live right beside that property. I hate to see that other subdivision go in. But I can't tell those people that they don't have the right to develop their property. I wish I could. But
And as far as, I mean, like I said, this does fit our land use plan.
And this is a rezone, he's gonna have to come up with a concept
Correct.
again.
good job coming up.
You know, if he comes to us with driveways coming out the front like that, then. of course,
It can be,
terrible
yeah,
idea right
all
there,
that can be
you know,
addressed
but
in.
They've
Can
got,
that be addressed?
Yeah.
Really?
that brings the concept.
There'll be, when it's brought to a development stage,
But you've got driveways all the way down the street.
And that's the problem.
But if you have it on both sides, that's gonna increase the chances of, it's already dangerous. When I come up over that hill, especially if there are people that are parked on the side, I'm having to go around pray that no one's coming the other way.
Is there no parking on the street signs on that street?
There's supposed to be, but it's not enforced.
Okay, I was gonna say, I remember back when I was on the board director, we posted no parking on the street sign.
Yeah.
I mean, if there could be a way that that could be put in, at least that would be something that would
Well,
help. the traffic.
obviously, if people are parked there and you wanna make a phone call and say, hey,
need to call the police and.
we will enforce it.
So I make neighbors mad.
It's almost always a thing to do.
Just today,
Let's call the question.
I was going down that same hill and
Let's
there's
call the
a
question.
truck with a trailer. He's cutting the grass for across the street, so now he's got twice the length taken up on an uphill.
It could be her mower, because the day I was
No,
looking
not
on
your
your
wall.
someone called in there and did that very thing.
I would greatly appreciate if you all would make that recommendation at least.
Again, this is just zoning tonight, they're not considering any,
Will we have an opportunity?
Yes.
to-
Oh, yes.
Okay.
every step is a public hearing.
And I mean, usually it's like they were, what can we do? I mean, we have the ability to say no at any point that we don't like it and we can change it. So that's the importance of you all showing up and voicing your concern. Otherwise, I don't think any of us live out there, you know, so that is your duty.
Nick and JP, are you still on the line?
Yes, sir.
You have any comments you wanna make about this rezone?
I just wanted to add, obviously, if they saw the plat, the initial plat, design, we're gonna have 5 1-acre estate lots, 700,000 plus build homes. We're looking at 700 to 800,000 range. And they're gonna front, it's gonna be 1 ingress egress on the Giles. And then the 20 executive half-acre lots, it's gonna come off Richardson. They're gonna be 500 to about 600 range. So all these other houses around there, I'm not trying to justify our proposal or anything, but this is substantially gonna increase property values around. We're not trying to be like the D.R. Hortons and the Pulte's and the KB Homes or anything that just smash a bunch of homes in on 650 square foot lots. That's not what we're proposing here. That's why we want we're trying to keep a lot of the green space. We're trying to keep the allure of the golf course, but the golf course is gone. The guy has liens on the property. When COVID happened, he shut it down and it's never gonna reopen. It's never gonna reopen. So if this doesn't happen with us, D.R. Horton, the #1 home builder in America, is probably gonna end up buying this thing, or Pulte, or Roush Coleman. One of the big guys is gonna come and buy it. And they're gonna smash a bunch of homes in there. You guys, like, I'm not saying you guys, but you can fight it all day, but like Larry was saying, like, it's eventually gonna happen. And they're gonna smash a bunch of homes in a $250,000 to $300,000 range on 600, 6,500, 7,000 square foot lots. You guys will really be happy with that. We're not trying to be like that, guys. We're trying to preserve a lot of the space that's there while trying to make a better home for the general area. And I agree. I hear your concerns on traffic and everything. But I mean, we're talking 20 homes on Richardson and only 5 on Giles. That's all I really had to say. For that.
Excuse me, who are we talking to?
These are the actual people buying the property that will be developing.
And his name is?
Is this JP or is this Nick?
That was me, Nick.
This is Nick, and they're with Veterans Land Group out of Florida. And they're
Veteran land buyers.
veteran land buyers, I'm sorry, and they're a group of military veterans who have formed a land development group. And
And it's Nick?
Nick is who you're talking to, and
Marinos, NSCK, Marinos, and it's Mary A. Moore, INOS, prior military, Navy vet, and JP, my partner, JP Kilduff, KILTUFF, he's prior to story.
and
Thank you.
they have some ties to Arkansas, and that's one reason why they're looking in this area.
But again, it's, how many homes are on Richardson? I just wanted to,
20 that access it.
20 half acre.
that can access Richardson, not on Richardson.
Yeah.
Not on,
No,
yes.
Yes.
We did talk earlier about wanting larger lots, even though they're hard to afford and everything else. And then there's a proposal for one I wonder if, and I feel like I say this a lot, but like with the entrances, like stop signs, roundabouts, what does control traffic? Cause that road is crazy.
It's one thing you could say for this road though, I mean, from a visibility standpoint, this is a long straightaway.
Yeah.
Visibility is not the issue, it is a fairly steep incline
Oh, wait a minute, visibility's,
until you get to this corner.
no,
And
how about the hills that are up and down from that turn to the end of that?
You just don't see very far down the road because of it. But it's like, I wonder, you know, like even with County Road 62 and Viney Grove, you know, they just put in a four-way stop, changed traffic pattern, like that's been a change for a lot of people that travel out there.
And something the city could consider is putting in a three-way stop there. We did that in Sundowner to slow traffic down at the top of.
That was the other thing I was gonna say is in Sundowner, they had the one
We did.
all the
We
way
put-
through.
We put the four-way in
They
up
put a
there,
four-way in.
just to make a break in the road, and that's a possibility too. You could ask the city to do that. The mayor's sitting right here.
I think that's a decent discussion.
And even too, like the entrance there, there's not enough houses probably to justify it, but some type of entrance into that. Just trying to think, like even with the golf course, it seems like it missed the entrance at the beginning. Like, well, I remember when the golf course was first there on 170 and you came down past Dennis's and all that, and it was like, oh, that was the golf course right there, because I was a kid and I was driving pretty fast, but you know, but if it was like, if it was a substantial entrance or
It's a couple years.
I'll throw it, yeah, well, or Y2K, or, you know, like the roundabout issues and the things, like, they're annoying, like when you go to other towns and people don't understand them, but it's like, it does slow traffic down and keep it moving.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not saying the city, and it's hard for a developer, and it does cost money, but something that slows traffic, that all these homeowners that love their area would appreciate the slower traffic, but maybe they can grow something green in there and, you know, and it look good too, and it'd be an amenity at the same time, like,
That'd probably be a good place to then block for a three-way stop.
so.
You were talking about that nice straight road there. Do you know how fast they come from Clubhouse Parkway all the way
Point of
down
order.
that road?
Anytime people speed, there's gonna be.
But I mean, I know,
For a vote.
Point of order.
I don't wanna incriminate myself, but yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do know.
One of the issues I have is being on the golf course, we were never allowed to put wood privacy fences up.
I remember.
So the only thing we can still put up to this day, even though there's no golf course, is wrought iron fences. Are these houses and these properties gonna be able to use,
That's a conversation for another day.
since they're not in POA? So it's,
I think, the same thing is true with Mountain View. I don't think they fall under the POA either, do they?
well, that's not button right up to Valley View though.
But it did. butt right up
It would have to be
golf course
owned.
area.
It'd have to be owned by Valley View, and the POA would have to be,
Well, I know I talked to Miss Brady about this a couple weeks ago, and she had attorneys looking at it, but she didn't think that could be required. That was just her opinion the day I talked to her, it couldn't change.
Question tonight is, do we want to rezone from A1 to R1?
That's for what we're voting on,
Yes.
the
and,
rezone from A1 to
Or
R1.
recommend to the
Yes.
city council to rezone?
Yes.
and we did do a whole city re-deal that was open to the public. It was posted, I mean, like, it
For
was an
years.
opportunity for everyone, and it was before I even came around on the planning commission. Y'all were working on this, because I can remember being posted in the library and at the school and everything else where you could go and discuss this. I never went. And then I was on the planning commission, I was like, man, I should have went, because those discussions would have been good to be involved with. But it does fit in what we had said. It does give larger lots and a different opportunity. The negative would be the traffic. And in that, if that could get addressed, I feel like we would all feel, constituents and us, a lot more comfortable with it. Because like you said, it's been a eyesore since the golf course has gone out.
I move we approve the rezone from A1 to R1 by Veterans Land Buyers J.P. Colvin, Richardson on Richardson Road.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to recommend the rezone from A1 to R1 for the land on Richardson Road by Veterans Land Buyers. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, it will go to the city council.
Gentlemen, and go to the city council on the 21st.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Larry.
A lot easier to say the next Monday.
The next Monday. So the same exact conversation will happen at city council and we'll vote on it
There'll be
there
an ordinance.
as well.
That's on July 21st.
Yes, at 6.
Week from Monday.
6.
Yeah.
Let's get.
Thank you all for your input. All right, at this time, we will reconvene to the Board of Adjustments and hear an appeal from the pavement requirements for driveways longer than 100 foot in A zones by Rick Burton, 10591 Viney Grove Road.
Correct me if I say anything wrong here, but you're selling off your old house, right?
Yes, it's
1 acre and 1 acre. So you're putting in a new driveway that will go back
to my shop.
to his shop. It's in an A1 zone and it's over 100 feet, so it qualifies for an exemption.
Any problems?
Do they?
Yeah.
Does the curtain or whatever, the very first part have to be, or is it?
There's no.
Maybe finish the whole thing.
They can do the whole thing?
But I think if you're paying there, I think.
I mean, that's an expense. But, you know, if that was a concern of someone like having gravel on the road.
And Rick, you're not gonna live there, correct? You're just gonna keep the barn.
That's right.
I don't have any concerns. I move we approve the appeal from the pavement requirements for driveways longer than 100 feet in A zones by Rick Burton at 10591 Viney Grove Road. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Have any further discussion? Anyone in the audience have any discussion about this? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, you're good. Item 2, under Board of Adjustments, is appeal from pavement requirements for driveways longer than 100 foot in A zones by Rocky Casey at 11283 Apple Hill Road.
Mr. Casey's here, and Troy, I may need your input as well, but if I understand this correctly, this started because Mr. Casey built a new shop building.
There's a new shop building, separate from his home right there. It has its own drive.
And it
It
connects,
doesn't go through the,
so it connects to his drive, right?
it connects to the road, private road.
Well, this is his drive all the way back to Apple Hill Road, right?
He owns that or not.
You own the drive,
The private drive.
they have the variant, all right. Easy to that, yeah. So
Private
you're,
drive is their road.
You can see where it's
Private drive.
now. the other
so
one-
everything is gravel now, the entire drive far exceeds 100 feet. And everything is gravel now, so if we maybe pave a little piece of concrete right here just attached to his shop, it's kind of meaningless when the rest of the drive is gravel.
They will cut it dry.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to say? Or did I cover everything?
You covered everything. It's 471.9 feet.
There we go.
On the pavement before you get on the road.
Are you sure it's not point A?
Why not?
All right.
No.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the waiver. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, you're good as well. No other business, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn, all those in favor say aye. We are adjourned.